Hey, what's up, everybody? Come on in to the Periscope. Come on in. It's a pre-unplugged scope. I was just driving from picking up the camera from my boy David for Unplugged tonight. He lets us use his camera. And I got a question from someone earlier, and I was like, man, I think I'm going to do a Periscope on this topic. And I think a lot of people need to understand the difference between fair weather friends and all weather friends. So come on into the Periscope. Come on in. Come on in. Give you some guys time to get into the Periscope. Hope you guys are doing well. Hey, best friend in my head, what's going on? Let me know where you guys watching from. Colorado Springs here again. Thank you for coming. Faithful members, man. Faithful people. Faithful. Come on into the Periscope. From Chicago. What's up, Chicago? Flint, Michigan. What's going on? St. Cloud, Minnesota. Come on into the Periscope. Kinston, North Carolina, up the street. Hey, Maryland, what's up? What's up? All weather friends are very important. Hello from Washington, D.C. What's up, D.C.? Tell Obama I said what it is. What it ain't. London, England. What's going on? NOLA, New Orleans, Mississippi, I think. Missouri. Chicago. Thank you guys for watching, man. If you want to engage with this broadcast, for those who may be brand new to my Periscope, welcome. My name is Coach Josh. Also, if you want to engage and help your brother out, you can continue to tap the screen. Some of you guys can donate 5 hearts. Some of you guys can donate 100. Some I feel believing that there's 2 out there. There's 2 of y'all out there that can give 10,000 hearts. And I'm believing by faith that one of you guys will give 10,000 hearts. But thank you for watching from Houston, Texas. But also, if you want to go ahead and share this broadcast, you see Bouncer White down there. Bouncer White's a young brother that I've been mentoring and discipling for some time now. Hit him. He'll be able to give you the option to share on Twitter, Facebook, or to your follows on Periscopes. It helps also get this Periscope trending. Also gives people who may not know who I am a chance to get to hear what God wants to say through me. But let's get right into it, man. There's a big difference between fair weather friends and all weather friends. It is very pivotal for you and myself to have all weather friends. But before I get into that, I have to make sure I make it clear that friendships are hard to come by. Not everyone is your best friend. Not everyone is willing to be that type of individual in your life. And many people have allowed different people in their lives with the badge or the honor of being their friend, but have failed to realize that most of the people that we call friends are actually associates. Meaning the people that we call best friends or friends are actually just people in our lives. They're not necessarily people that's beneficial. And you have to have a mutual agreement with the person, because many people are pouring 80% into a friendship while the other person's pouring 20. Excuse me. So what happens in a person's life when they begin to engage with a person that's not really as invested as the other person, that person who's invested the most begins to suffer. That's why the person who loves the least in a relationship controls a relationship. The person who loves or gives the least adds the most stress to the friendship. So what happens is when you begin to invest and engage with a person who's only investing a portion of what you invest, you're the one answering all the phone calls. You're the one giving all the advice. You're the one doing all the praying. You're the one bearing all the burden, while the other person just sitting there enjoying the benefits. And what happens is many people are giving away benefits or giving over a title to someone who's not having been proven to be there. See, each and every one of us have to understand that life is full of seasons. Life is full of seasons. You are going to go through a tough time. I always tell people either you're leaving a storm, in a storm, or heading towards a storm. Life has a unique way of offering challenges. Challenges are beneficial. Challenges are what makes us. And God oftentimes provides support system through friends, support system through wives, or through husbands, to be able to support us as we go through. Many of us have been allowing the wrong people access to our lives. Therefore, you going through your storm, your tough time, you look over and you find that person's gone. You got to make sure you allow people in your life who are there through the tough times and the good times, the thick times and the thin times. Do not allow a person to enjoy the sun with you who wasn't there to engage or hold you up during the storms of your life. And many of us allowing people to enjoy the benefits of our life instead of allowing those people to see, are you even willing to hold the burdens of my life? And what happens, give me one second. So what happens in many of us get so caught up on allowing different people into our lives who have yet to prove that they're able to handle our burdens. You need all weather friends. And I tell people, I give the story of Jesus. What happens in life, what happened in Jesus' life, Jesus had the crowd, Jesus had the 12, and Jesus had the 3. The maximum amount of friends you're going to have in life is probably 2 to 3 friends. If you have more than that, you're going to end up having a Judas. What happened, Jesus only brought 3 often to private places with him because he understood those 3 would be the pillars of his ministry, the pillars of what is going to be birthed after he's gone. And many people have 12 friends, 40 friends, 70 friends. Listen, don't get so caught up on how many people look to you, because most of the people in your life are drawn to you not because of who you are, but because of the fruit that you bear. It was very confusing for me when I was in ministry for the first time, because everyone used to come to me and I was like, you're my friend and you're my friend and we're all friends. But I failed to realize that not everybody is willing to sit with me as a bare tree. They will only sit with me when I'm blossoming, when I'm bearing much fruit. Not many people are willing to sit near your tree, sit near you when your leaves are bare, when your fruit are not bearing. Most people are drawn to you because of the fruit that you bear. And you got to make sure you know how to distinguish between fair weather friends and all weather friends. Fair weather friends are only there or they're only around you when times are good. But the moment you go through tough times, or the moment that you're no longer benefiting them, they begin to leave. Listen, you're talking to a man who's been in ministry for 10 years. I had people that I thought were true friends. I had people that I thought that were true friends. I had people that told me, Josh, I will never leave you, nor will I forsake you. They was quoting Bible scriptures, talking about, Josh, I'm there for you to the end. But the moment that I no longer had the resources to benefit them, or the ability to fund or support what they want to do, gone. And I'm telling you right now, people will come to you when you're hot. When you're hot and you're popping and you're looking good and you're doing good and you're feeling good and you're making money, your bank account good, expect a lot of friends. Where there is surplus in your life, expect a surplus of friends or a surplus of people to come to you. But when things get scarce, people get gone. But when you understand there's a friend that stick closer to the brother, when you understand that God is always there for you, you don't always have to reach out to have people to be to accompany you. You don't always have to reach out for people to be there for you always. You have someone that will never leave you. There's a person inside of you that's keeping you, that's nurturing you. But when you get so caught up on, man, life sucks and I guess I got to bring this person in my life. Man, listen, I'd rather be alone with God and have no friends than have a bunch of friends and not have God. So I want to challenge you today to make sure you be able to distinguish between fair weather friends, all weather friends. All weather friends are few. You're right. Faithful ones are few. And listen, there's going to be a lot of people that's not going to be as loyal as you. There's going to be a lot of people who's not going to be as committed as you. Hey, my thing is I call it mutual friendships. You got to be able to be in friendship with someone that's going to pick up the phone call just as much as you pick it up. You got to make sure you find someone that's going to be there for you no matter what. That's going to sacrifice for you. That's going to not compromise, but will sacrifice something beneficial to them to benefit you. You got to make sure you have a push-pull or a pour relationship. Meaning that you got to have friendships where you pour into you, that pour into you as much as they pour in, that you pour into them as much as they pour into you. Now, there's going to be some people that you're going to have to be there for that are not there. But there are certain levels to this thing. Make sure you bring into your life people who are proven to hold the burdens with you just as much as they will be willing to hold the blessings that you have. That's all I got to say. All weather friends are there for you when times are thick and thin. All weather friends are there for you when things are full of surplus, when things are scarce. They are people. Now, I'm not saying they're going to always be happy to sacrifice for you, but they have such a connection with you that they're going to be there for you no matter what. And listen, cut off those people who are so easy to cut you off. And I tell people, there's certain people that right now who I thought was my friends, who thought was going to be there for me. Things have changed. You can forgive people, but things must change until they have proven to be or to do otherwise. Because some people try to come back to where the brook was where the brook was high. They want to come back where it once was flourishing. Be very careful that listen, I'm talking to the people who are very good people, very loyal people. Let me talk to you for a minute. People are drawn to people who have an abundance of love, who have an abundance of grace. And they use those people. Why do you think they use them? Because they know that person will never leave them. What you got to do in life is to make sure that you value yourself more than you value anyone else. Why? Because if you're not okay, you can't help nobody else. If you're not good, you can't be no good to somebody else. So what you got to do is you got to be able to say, I got to set my boundaries. I gotta set my limits. People who was there for, who I was there for, and I felt was there for me, when they left, the advice ain't as flourishing as it once was. Josh ain't gonna pick up the phone like he once did. Josh ain't, listen, you burn me once, it's over. It's over. If you burn me once, I'm not sitting there saying I'm not going to love you and give grace, but the same grace that I gave you, I cannot give you back, because you have proven not to be a good steward of the love that I gave, or you wasn't proven to be the steward of the grace that I have given. And I do not want to compromise myself or engage myself with someone that's only coming back to drain me, that's only coming back to pull from me. Listen, if you ain't making deposits, I can't make deposits. The only time I make deposits into someone's life is when God leads. Listen to me. When God leads you to make a deposit in someone's life, He will repay you. He will repay you. Okay? When God leads you to pour into somebody, that's why ministry, I have to trust that when I pour into these people every Thursday, when I pour into people, oftentimes, I know for a fact if God is leading me, He's going to replenish me. If God is leading me, He's going to repay me. But if it's a friendship and I allow you into the private corridors of my life, you're going to have to make sure you have something to give as well. While I was just praying for this today, rid those who mean no great to me. I'm telling you, get rid of people who will be quick to get rid of you. If they burn you once, chances are they'll burn you again. If they're not coming back apologetic with fruit that corresponds to that apology, let that person go. Listen, I was that person that was used all the time. I got people that still think I'm their best friend. I cut them off. I got people that think they can still come to me and get the same thing they got before, but it ain't the same anymore. And you got to be able to value yourself. Yeah, it is hard to tell. Let me help you tell. Okay, well, do you feel guilty or feel like you're doing it to get back at them? At the beginning, and listen, every time you got to be very careful that you guard bitterness. I had bitterness in my heart as well. You got to be able to forgive, but you have to be wise. And what I mean by that is, it's oftentimes you do feel bitter and you do feel like I got to get back at them. But at the same time, you ask yourself, when I make this investment, will they damage that investment? I got to make sure that, okay, you know for a fact what you've done to me. Now, will things be the same eventually? That's only depending on what God wants to do in His sovereign will. But when it comes to a person who's a user, you know when there's a user in your life. You know when there's someone that's there to use you. You got to make sure you make those cuts. Now, how do you tell between a fair weather friend and an all weather friend? A fair weather friend, you always see them happy when you're happy. They're always around when things are going good. But the moment tough times happen, they're always there to receive, but not always there to give. People, if you're in a relationship right now or a friendship right now where it's 80-20, you're giving 80%, you're 80%, or you giving more than other person. Now, if it's a 50-50, 60-40 split, that's understandable. Life happens, so sometimes I may have to give 60 while you give 40 to make this thing whole. But if you're giving 80, they're giving 20, that's a fair weather friend. That person is sitting there saying, I'm only going to give a little bit while I reap the 80% that you give. You got to make sure you're getting into a friendship. We're talking about friendships and relationships with someone who's pouring just as much in you as you are in them. But when life happens and they're not able to give as much as you, but their heart is still with you, that's when you have greater grace for them. Do not give greater grace to people who's going to abuse that grace. Even God says, shall we continue in sin that grace abounds? Paul said, God forbids. So do not give grace to people who's going to continue to use that grace, and they're going to continue to use that grace to the point that it burns you out. That's what happens. Many people get so bad at God because they're like, God, why are you not blessing me? God's like, you're sinning. I can't endorse you in your habitual sin. I'm not going to give you greater grace to abuse. Their angle and negative. Listen, people always listen. You remove a person's resource, they get mad. When you become somebody's idol, when you become somebody's source, expect anger when you begin to remove what you used to give. Expect it. People are selfish. People are selfish. People use people to only benefit themselves, and the moment someone changes to better them, they get upset because you no longer giving them what they want. An all-weather friend understands. An all-weather friend thinks 2 to 3 moves ahead just like you do. An all-weather friend gives you grace when they know it. An all-weather friend feels you, knows you, moves with you, understands you. When you even look a certain type of way, they're there for you. Yes, I've learned the hard way as well. You got it. The worst part is Christians are some of the worst ones, man. Christians are some of the worst ones. People who are godly, quote unquote, people are some of the worst ones because they use God. They use manipulation. God is a great manipulative tool. Listen to me. God is a great manipulative tool. People will use God to manipulate you. That's why people get mad. Well, you got some black Israelites, they'd be like, well, that's the white man's religion, or the slave owner used the Bible. It's like, look, people will use people have been using God to manipulate folks since the beginning. Did Satan use God to manipulate Eve and the fruit? Satan gonna always use God to manipulate. They're always the ones that you have the most fun with, although they they love to have fun when you're having fun. But when you're frustrated and when failure happens and when you're in fault, when they leave, if they're ghosts, do not let them back in when the next wave of success comes. Any questions before I go? I hope this Periscope helped. But man, all other friends are mutual friends. All other not mutual friends. All other friends are friends that engage, that gives, that receives with thankfulness. They don't take you for granted. Listen, some of y'all got to become a little bit more scarce. The best way to prove whether a person is a fair weather friend or all weather friend is to become scarce. And what I mean by become scarce, listen, can I be real with you? Oh, let me get to that question. Can I be real with you? It hurts when you're in the ministry, because when people watch my YouTube videos, listen to me. This is me coming from my heart. I'm only going to say this to you. When people first meet my videos, they have a high expectation of me. Wow, Josh, these videos, man, damn, man, this man powerful. When they get around you, they begin to say, wow, I'm around Josh now, I'm around this man of God. But right, when they stay around you, you become normal to them. What was once abnormal, which was once beyond normal, becomes normal. Then they start using you as if you're normal. They forget your anointing, they forget your call, they forget your mission, they forget your convictions, they forget everything that they once grasped a hold in the beginning. And that's why I'm learning to not always make myself so available. The more available you are, you got to make sure you be most available to people who treasure and trust your availability. You got to make sure you surround yourself that every minute to them matters. Every 5-10 minutes that you give them, they appreciate. Do not make yourself available to people who do not appreciate your availability. Do not make yourself available to people who do not appreciate your presence. Your presence should be appreciated because of what you give. The Bible talks about do not make yourself too frequent around your neighbor's house. Do not make yourself too frequent around people, because the more frequent you are, the more accustomed you are, the more accustomed you become to someone, they treat you like you're accustomed. They'll treat you like you're always there. You got to put so much value in you that you make yourself scarce. Put yourself in the back room. Remove yourself from people, because they, like you said, my sister, they will drain you. Because you're a good person. A genuine hearted person. But the moment you start saying no, that's when people start getting upset. Take it from me. Learned it. That's why I don't have that many friends. I have people that think they're my friends. I have people that I really care about, but my care is not as weighty as it would towards people that that have proven to be there for me. Learn from experience. Yeah, I have too. And those people always come back around the corner like a homeless person, talking about you got some more change. It's tough being alone. Oh, thank you for watching, Jesse. Gord, thank you for watching. I'm glad it's a blessing. It's tough being alone. That's why I get productive. Assignments keeps you from being lonely. God and your purpose keeps you from being lonely. Why do you think I'm coming out with? I'm coming out with 2 books, but the reason why I write books, the reason why I do videos, the reason why I work hard on mentoring programs, the reason why I do that, because I don't like idle time. Idle time leads to an idle mind. Idle mind leads to idle hands. Idle hands leads to I don't know another word after that, but it leads to a bad life. Okay. I think everyone has experienced at some point. They have. That's why friends are far few in between. Keep busy. Stay productive. Stay productive to overcome loneliness. But I tell you right now, man, stay productive, man. Listen, friends are far few in between. I don't want to hurt anyone from cutting people off, but I understand it has to. Listen, either y'all both gonna drown or you gonna go to shore. You jump in the water and you try to save somebody and they pulling you down, look, bruh, get off me. Get off me. Because if you don't want me to help you, I ain't gonna drown out here with you. You know how many people have lost their lives trying to save someone? Listen, man, listen. People always gonna be upset when things change, but they always come back around. They always you stay true. Listen, stay true to God, stay true to you, stay true to those that God has given you stewardship over. Those are the only people you are required to stay true to. That's it. No sense in thank you. No sense in drowning too. Listen, the moment you start pulling my shoulders down, hey yo, play, get off me. You ain't trying to live, bruh. Now you know when there's people that ain't trying to live. They ain't trying to live, let them go. Listen, if they ain't trying to do right, get right, be right, you do right and do right for yourself. What was the question? Oh, I just answered your question. I'm glad, man. You're welcome. It's not going to be easy to cut them off, man. But if it's hurting your bottom line, it's hurting your life, yeah, get out there and ride bikes, man. There's a lot of hobbies. There's about 50 billion something hobbies out there that you can pick up. And the best thing you can pick up is your purpose, man. That's why I love writing books. I love talking to you guys, man. It sharpens me. Lift weights. Man, your boy getting swole out here. What if we have a child? Okay. What if you have a child together? Yeah, man, listen. You know, you just got to do what you got to do. I'm sure going to do my college assignment right now. I know. You listen, cut your friends off so you can get your... You like the World War Me books? I'm glad you like it, Angel. It doesn't matter. Thank you. It doesn't matter if you have history. Do you have a future though? Do we have a future? We don't? Okay. I'm about my business. How do you tell someone we can't be friends anymore? Listen, what about spouse? Okay, good questions. How do you tell someone we can't be friends anymore? What you got to do, man, sometimes it depends on the person. Listen, you got to be cognizant of the other person. You got to be cognizant. How deep are they emotionally? If they're deep emotionally into you, you got to be smart about this. You don't want no tires busted. You don't want no tires cut. You don't want no windows busted. You got to be smart, right? You got to be able to go before you do anything. Go to God and pray. How can you get my books? Amazon.com. Go to Amazon. Type in Joshua Ezzy. E as an elephant. Z as a zebra. E as an elephant. But what happens is when you feel like you're going to a situation that you may not be able to handle, you got to go to God and say, you know what? God, give me the grace. Thank you. God will never make a hard situation hard for you. Now, what does that mean? It is hard to you alone, but with God, it becomes lighter, right? So when you go into a situation to talk to a friend and we can't be friends anymore, you got to go to God and God will set the stage. This is what I tell people. I say, go to God and say this, God, please set the stage for me to have this conversation. One of the most powerful prayers you can say. God, set the stage for me to have this conversation. I come against every demonic spirit. I come against every type of resistance that may happen. But God, set the stage for me to have this conversation and then wait. But if it's immediate, go do it immediately as possible. But what you got to do if it's a situation that you don't know, isn't it better to just drop? Nah, man, people need closure, man. Oh, what's up, little Pappy? People need closure. People need closure. You got to make sure if you drift far away and you don't communicate, then you giving them space to assume. So if it's a person that you ain't really been friends with like 2 days, drift from that joker. Drift. Start drifting. All right? But if it's been someone that has invested but hasn't invested as much as you, or they made a turn in their life and they not as faithful to God as you once were, you got to communicate with them. And sometimes you got to be straight up. Look, man, my walk with God means everything to me. Right now, we can't go. If we're not touching and agreeing on the same things, we can't go no further than this. Will I be there for you? Will I pray for you? Yes. But we cannot be. I can't pick up your phones, man. You're not respecting me. Yeah, no space to assume. Do not give the devil no space to make another person assume. And what happens is communication brings clarity. A lot of people have made decisions without telling the other person, and the other person is dealing with bitterness and unforgiveness unnecessarily. What if you thought God placed them in your life and then things went wrong? You still take a step back and let God bring them back into your life. Listen, if God placed someone in your life, people change. But the prodigal son's father never left the prodigal son. Even though the prodigal son left, that doesn't mean the prodigal son's father went out there and chased him to Las Vegas. It wasn't like the prodigal son like, I'm just going to be... The prodigal son's father wasn't peeping around trees. I'm just checking on you. Tweeting, I'm just checking on you. The prodigal father said, I'm going to sit right here on my porch. And this is my son. Therefore, God, establish this relationship. This is my son. I'm going to sit on this porch, and if he returns, no matter how long, I'm going to receive him. That is only for relationships and friendships that you had no choice of choosing. Now, what does that mean? That means your son, your daughter, your husband, your wife, your mama, your daddy, people who you didn't have no choice of choosing, right? This does not mean for people who are not God sent. There are certain people you can't control. Every mother, every father, do not give up on your sons. Do not give up on your daughters. Do not give up on your mom. Do not give up on your father. These are people you had no choice in choosing. But when it comes to people, so that doesn't. Oh, let me get to the next question now. But when it comes to friends and church people, you got to know for a fact that God placed them there. If God placed them there for you to intercede for and to pray for, you stay true. You stay there. But if God never confirmed it, then you don't have no obligations. I told a friend yesterday, I say, pray for a person. I said, you don't always got to pray every day for a person. Just tell God, God, I'm available to pray for them anytime you drop them in my spirit. And you know when God drops someone in your spirit, it comes out of nowhere. How do we know that God has confirmed it? You know how God has confirmed it through, let me make it specific for this situation. You know that God has confirmed it when you have, listen, you got to know God to know confirmation. And what I mean by that, you know when God speaks to you. You know when the presence of God says no. You know when the Spirit of God is like, stay a while. And so when God confirms it, he confirms it through a person that you trust. He may confirm it through a TV show. God can confirm it through multiple different ways. But the feeling of the confirmation, now let me change the word feeling. The presence of the confirmation is evident when you know for a fact that God is speaking, that God is telling me to stay, that God is telling me through this person randomly that I shouldn't go. Thank you. There's a knowing. And you got to know the knowing in order to know what I'm saying. You get a sense of peace as well. Not no feelings of peace. We're talking about, true peace when you're in turmoil. When you feel peace and you know good and well you couldn't even conjure up the emotional thought to be at peace, that's God's peace. But you got to know God to know his knowing. It's undescribable at times. You just got to know. And we all know that knowing sometimes. Man, you early today, almost missed you again. No problem. Welcome back. Come on in. Dreams and wise counsel. I was told that peace would be present. Deja vu is also God. Yeah, to a degree, yeah. Listen, God will confirm through dreams, but anything that God tells you, put it on the shelf and let God confirm you. When God tells you something, I posted on Facebook today, don't go off and run off and telling people, well, God told me, you my husband. God told me, you my wife. God's telling me to start this mission. Listen, if God told you something privately, let God tell it publicly. Sometimes, and also what I said was, do not always take to heart when people tell you, well, God told me this, God said this. Sometimes people say that. People use God to try to convince themselves to do what they originally wanted to do, or they're saying it to shut you up. People say, God told me this to make sure you can stop talking. You know why? Because if they tell you, well, God told me to leave. I had people tell me God told me to leave unplugged. Why would God tell you to leave unplugged in the most emotional state of your life? Why would God tell you to leave or do certain things that most time people say, God told me to leave, God told me to stay, God told me to do this and that, to keep your mouth shut? Because people don't like logical questions. And God didn't tell you nothing. That's why I'm very quiet about what God told me. God told me to leave, God told me to stay, God told me to do this, God told me to give you this. God, I'm like, look, man. All right, what are you trying to convince yourself that God told you something that you know good and well God told you, God never told you? Or are you just trying to make sure because you know Josh is logical? People like to come talk to me. You know why they don't like to come talk to me? Because they know I'm going to give them that truth. I'm going to ask them a bunch of questions to make sure they understand what is the root cause of why you're doing what you're doing. What's the real reason? And the reason why people are like, well, God just told me. Because they know for a fact Josh going to respect God. I'm going to be like, all right, if God told you. God told you. How come you consider yourself a coach and not a preacher? Oh, I'm a preacher, man. I'm a pastor. I'm not a pastor yet. But when I use the word coach is more like I want to be able to coach in multiple different dynamics. I love to coach in marketing and branding development. I'm a certified life coach. And so, but I'm a diehard preacher. I'm a preach. But there are certain coaching techniques and methods that I use to help better people. So right now, I'm planning, thank you for the leeway. I'm planning on offering coaching sessions for people. I'm going to charge. But I'm about to release a website pretty soon. I just want to know how much would you be willing to pay for 30 minutes or an hour of my time? It's the real question I'm really asking for, because I'm really wanting to get into some one-on-one coaching. What is the difference between a preacher and a pastor? A preacher is a person that just preach the gospel. Who you listen to when it comes to music. Okay, give me 1 second. Come to UK. I'm trying to do my best. Come to UK. A pastor is someone who's dedicated, committed to a body of people. That's a pastor. Like seminars, yeah. Like, so I do that kind of stuff. Like what I do on Thursdays, that's why I call my messages lectures. I'm trying to change the culture of the way preaching is done. And I'm not saying to turn it into coaching, but my objective is to challenge preachers to make sure they dig deeper into their people, right? And what I mean by that is there's a lot of preaching, but no practical tools given. So you have a bunch of messages and people taking notes, but there's no worksheets, there's no workshops, there's no application. And so people are going through life, oh, that was a dope message. Oh, that was great. Oh, so what did the pastor say? Oh, no, but the presence of the Lord was there. Oh, we was worshiping a rock concert. It felt good. But what's the application? And so for the people who follow me, I'm coaching them. And I'm trying to change, not trying to change the title, but trying to change the method, because I don't got time to go to heaven and God be like, Josh, you was a good preacher, but you wasn't a good discipler. You preached, but you didn't disciple. He didn't say go preach to all nations. He said go and make disciples. Where do I get the worksheet on the Thursday sessions? Go to listen to me, go to from start to finish.mightybell.com. From start to finish.mightybell.com. And sign up for that. Will God give you a bad dream about someone? I wouldn't call it a bad dream. I would call it a warning. A warning. Yes, people don't need to walk out of the altar unchanged. Yep. Discipleship is missing from these churches. Listen, people building campuses, people working more on their presentation than they are building their people. That's why people come to Unplug. It's about 20, 30 people. That's why I used to ask God, why haven't I grown yet? Why am I not reaching thousands of people? Why ain't thousands of people coming on Thursdays? Why? But I told God, was like, man, the best things in life grow slow, move slow. If God has confirmed something, will the devil try to make you not? But yeah, of course. The best tool against faith is doubt. Hold on. The best tool against faith, from start to finish, mighty bell. Yep, that's it. Mighty bell, like a ringing bell. Not come ring, ring my bell. That thing right there. But I'm talking about. Okay, good question. My thing is, from the next 3 to 4 weeks, I'm going to be talking about faith at Unplugged. I'm going to be talking about developing or implementing the right support system. MightyBell.com. From start to finish.mightybell.com. If you want those worksheets, be a part of my community. Right now, we have about 60-something people who's a part of that course. And if you want to be a part of that course right now, I'm going to let you guys in. I forgot what I was saying. Somebody remind me what I was talking. What was I saying? Coach tired. Coach sleepy. But Coach going to preach tonight, though. Faith. Thank you. I'm going to be talking about faith, man, and how to build our faith. And what happens in life, many people get so caught up on what they see versus what is unseen. So what happens is people are putting the bulk of their faith in wrong things and in God things. The best things in life grow slow, man. Anything rushed in will be rushed out. Don't rush anything. Trust the process. That's why I say, man, I got 20 to 30 people that come unplug on Thursdays, and I'm loving it. You know why? I know their stories. There's people that I'm discipling right now. I'm discipling you guys through Periscope. I wish I can. That's why I want to offer up a one-on-one coaching, man, so I could be able to coach you guys. I have to charge because I got to make a living. The greatest people in life can do the most with the least. I'm telling you, that's true. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Jesse. That's true, man. You got to learn how to maximize the least before you maximize the lot. Any more questions before I go, man? I'm in a river. I'm feeling good, man. I did take a nap earlier, so that's what a burst of the energy is. But if you're in Charlotte, man, and you want to come check me out live, come to 3646 Central Avenue. What do you think about Islam? Do you any other than why? What do you think about Islam? Do you talk about sports? Yeah, I'm gonna talk about sports, man. But one thing that I would say about, like, my thing is, when it comes to other religions, you have to make sure that you can logically prove why you believe what you believe. I came to Christianity not only through an emotional connection, but through an intellectual connection. And there's certain, like, if you really want to know what I really believe, there's some videos that I want to give you to be able to help you understand the truth about Christianity and why, you can't have multiple religions and one God. You didn't have multiple moms. It wasn't like you came out of this woman and you came out of that woman. Nah, you came out of one woman. And so if we are able to come out of one woman, then there has to be absolute truth to one God. How much do you want for a coaching session? Y'all tell me, how much would y'all pay for my time? But as far as sports, man, all religions have similar stories, but all religions have similar stories, but in their own versions and are differently. Exactly. If there has to be absolute truth, and so what do you coach? Oh, coach people's lives. Oh, but who is God? Good question. As a college student, it's $50. Oh, look at that. That's nice. That's nice of you. I coach marketing and branding. I coach personal development coaching, relationship coaching, all that kind of stuff. I paid up to $50 before. Okay, bald head, black son. Well, look at that, boy. The block is hot. Boy, I'm about to put some, what's that, juvenile. How much I'm thinking to charge? About $50 to $80. Okay, that's good. That's a good one. $50 to $80 for an hour. 30 minutes, I may go a little low. $50 to $80. I mean, you talking about an hour of my time focusing on your specific problem. Any other questions? But I'm thinking about between between $50 and $80 an hour. We can do it in person. We can do it on Skype. We can do it however, where we can get face-to-face interaction. That's not bad. I could go 100 and 150 now. Do I pump music? I love music, man. Love music. Y'all tell me, man. I'm gonna open up. I'm gonna let y'all guys know when I start doing it, man. $200? Ooh, boy, that's what. Boy, I can't wait to get $200 an hour now. You'll sign up? Who do you listen to? Listen to Lecrae. I'm listening to Truth's new album. Truth's new album is real nice. The Truth. For college 50. Okay, 50, 60. Okay, I'll do that. I'm working on the website now. I'm gonna release it. I'm trying to really get into full-time ministry. How do you tell someone you can't see them after having a warning dream about that person? You just got to be honest, man. Sometimes honesty rips the Band-Aid the quickest, and it hurts and stings the most in the beginning. But you got to be able to say, look, I can't do this anymore. I can't, this is just not the season for us right now. Right? What I need you to do right now is to trust God. And while I trust God, but I got to make this decision to better me. Right now, I don't think it's beneficial for you and I to move forward. If this is not good for you, no, I haven't. But when it comes down to you and I, we might not be able to go these next few miles together. Now, if God brings you around the corner on mile 58, then we can see what happens. But right now, we can't do it. It's not that we're not capable. We just don't know where to start. That's true. No, there's not an unplug in London. But my goal is, listen, it's up to you guys. Right now, I'm working 40 to 50 hours a week, and I'm doing ministry on top of it. So you're talking about 80 to 90, not 80 to 90, maybe about 80 hours a week in work mode. So I'm waiting on God to release me. I don't think God's releasing me yet. I think it's on the way. And but I have to eat too. I have to be able to live. But I think God's about to open the doors for me to be able to branch out, and I want to be able to start chapters in different cities. That's why I love mediums like Periscope and YouTube to be able to touch you guys. But I want to be able to. Do you want to have more about? The question disappeared, bro. But yeah. Okay, no worries. I was just trying to find you, and I came across something else. Oh, okay, no problem. Yeah, I'm not in London. That whoever that person is ain't me. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and go. Thank you guys for the hearts. Thank you guys for the comments. I couldn't afford more than $5. I may do like a 5-minute 5 for 5. I can do a 5 for 5 deal for you. 5 minutes for $5, or 10 5 for 10, 10 for 5. Yes, she's praying for you. Thank you for your prayers. Do you want to know more about? No, I'm good, bro. I mean, I've studied a little bit of it, but I haven't read it. But I'm pretty good, man. On it for sure. I'm pretty good with the Lord Jesus, man. I'll take in the Bible. I'll take a 10 for 10. 10 for 10? Okay, what if you see a person's problems and know exactly how to fix it? Listen, man, do not fix a person's problem do not aim to fix a person's problem who did not invite you to fix it in the first place. Listen, sometimes we like to Captain Save them. You know, we want to jump in and save. Not you, I'm not saying you. But sometimes we like to jump in and just want to save somebody. Man, and certain people only God can save. You know what J. Cole say? You can't save her, she don't want to be saved. You can't save them if they don't want to be saved. But if they offer you to give them advice, give them advice. If they take your first pearl and they use it wisely, then think about giving them the other pearl. But if you give them one pearl and they ask for a pearl, you give them a pearl and they throw the pearl in the ocean, don't give that person other pearls. That pearl, she don't want to be saved. He don't want to be saved. They don't want to be saved. You're so welcome, guys. Love you guys. I got to go. I'm going to try to take a nap. Yeah, don't stop. You got to stop. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. J. Cole, he might just be a prophet. Speaking the truth. What does God mean that he gives us our heart's desires? Thank you. Good question. The Bible says, they that delight themselves in the Lord, he give you the desires of your heart. The key word in that scripture is delight. Before, whatever you delight in will determine your desires, right? What you delight in, your desires morph into. Your desires blend into. So if you delight in a person, your desires become for that person. When you delight in God, your carnal desires now becomes his desires. They that delight themselves in the Lord, he give you desires of your heart. But he's only going to give desires to the heart of a person that truly delights in him. When you truly delight in him, that means your soul, your spirit, and your body, your being is becoming more like God. Therefore, your desires are going to become more like God's desires. So when you delight in him, he then gives you desires of your heart, because your heart has been purged and your heart has been purified and your heart has been positioned to actually receive what he wants to give. But if you don't delight in him, don't expect God to give you the desires of your heart. He's only going to give desires to the heart of a person whose hearts he already has. I don't see any hearts, any comments. I don't know if I froze or anything. All right, I guess I froze. All right, guys. Until next time. I love you guys. Peace.